tree coming on board.
Yes.
I love it. I love it.
I love it.
Okay. So welcome. So everybody, I don't think we've been able to introduce you before, have I?
No, this is my first time speaking here.
We have an urgent speaker with us right now.
Haven't heard that in a
We're going to
while.
take care of that last night. So, great place to find out what you're curious about. And I am delighted. I've been looking forward to meeting her because I haven't introduced her before. So I'm delighted to introduce to you now, talking about decoding the breath's language. We have Remington Steele. The TV show?
I don't think I was, but I mean,
You never know.
I like it. It gets me a lot of credibility.
There you go.
It opens doors. So thank you. Yes, my name is Remington Steele, and I started an organization called Breathe with Rem, where I help people see themselves through their breath. So, how many people before today have heard that the breath has its own language? Okay, nice. I hope it's because you read one of my articles about decoding the breath's language. If not, definitely check it out. So Proverbs 20:27 states, "The breath of man is the light of God, searching our most inner being." And I'll repeat that in case it's your first time hearing that verse. The breath of man, everyone take a deep breath in, is the light of God, searching our most inner being. And my question is, how well do we allow ourselves to be searched? Not here today in this structured environment where we're taking a collective breath, but in life when everything is happening, when you're having one of those days and the boss is pissing you off, traffic is another bitch, excuse my language, I cuss a little bit, and you get home and the one chore task that your mate or spouse said they'll take on, emptying the trash or something, it seems like you're the only one that ever sees it. And today was trash day. So you shout out in a rage, something you instantly regret, but you're too pissed off to admit. How well do you allow the breath in moments like that? Or how well in moments where you're overstimulated, overwhelmed, overworked, and you just left work, there's 100 emails still unread, one of them got a due date on it. Traffic is so slow, you're gonna be late picking your kid up again, so you're gonna get another email about that. And as you're trying to figure out what you're gonna cook for dinner, your child is in corner, just talking to mommy this and I got a project here and you yell out in an anxious fuss, "Shut up!" How well do we allow the breath to search us then? So what's going on with the breath? What happens? Where is the path? What's the path that the breath is taking? So we breathe in through our nose. We never breathe in through our mouth. We breathe in through our nose, right? And so we breathe in. Once we breathe in, we instantly know we have 2 points of entry, whereas the mouth only has one, and that's another reason why we don't breathe in through our mouth, only through our nose. And so when we breathe in through our 2 points of entry, our breath then splits up on both sides of our nostrils 3 times. And that's our our sinus cavities. And those sinus cavities are there to heat up the oxygen that you just breathe in. Now, the reason why we don't breathe in through the mouth, because it's not there to do that. So we warm up the breath so it doesn't shock our organs. And so that also allows for more breath to come in as it's splitting into 6, because it's 3 on each side. As it's splitting up into 6 different passageways, we're allowed for more breath, like traffic. And then as it meets at the back of the throat, it slows down, just like traffic, to 1 lane. And it continues to fall down to the trachea, and then it splits off into 2 bronchial tubes. And just a little fun fact, the left lung is slightly smaller than the right to make space for the heart that sits right in between the two. And so as the breath continues to find its way through, it goes into the large bronchial tubes, and then it breaks off to smaller valves and even smaller valves from there. And by the end, it looks a lot like this tree branch, right? As it searches our lungs and it exits out of each of these valves, seeps out. And what it seeps out to, what's waiting on it, is 300 million air sac cells that are found in the cavity of our lungs. And what those air sac cells are there for, they look like pomegranate seeds, the little pomegranate things. And so what they're there for is, as the oxygen seeps out into our lungs, they mate and marry with these oxygen cells. And so just think about it, if we're taking a quick deep breath in, if we're doing that, we're likely pushing those air sac cells away, and they're not doing what they're there for, to meet and marry. And so what happens as that lung expands, the lungs expand, and they meet and marry, two things happen. So one, as the lungs expand, it squeezes on that heart in the center, creating the pump. That pushes, that actually the cells, those air sac cells and air together transforms into blood that pushes through our bodies to search us. And just a little fun fact, another little fun fact, the original origin of organs, the original meaning was tools for information. Our organs is tools for information. Blood searches us. And so the second part that happens is right underneath our diaphragm, right underneath our rib cage is the diaphragm, and it's shaped like a dome. And as the lungs expands and squeezes on the heart, it also pushes the diaphragm down and flattens the diaphragm. And that diaphragm begins to squeeze on the organs that's underneath it. That's your large and small intestines, your pancreas, your stomach, your kidneys, liver, all of that, some stuff I'm forgetting. And that's all getting squeezed on, and lymph fluids is getting released, and that's doing what it needs to do to the organs. Toxins is being released, and the blood is catching that the way it does. And information is being given from the blood. Hey, tighten up here. Oh, you're sick there. It's an inventory that's going on within this cycle. And it moves back up the body. It talks to the brain, tells it, hey, we feel this way. We're going to do this. This is what I've done. This is what you need to do. And then upon all of that, we exhale the toxins collected out of our body. That's the importance of an exhale. So what is this coded message that's being sent to our bodies from the breath? So anger, let's think about anger. And actually, before any emotion is created, a unique pattern within your breath has to be triggered for you to have that emotion. And so thinking of like the breath pattern of anger. The breath pattern of anger is shallow, sharp, and forceful. We're angry. And if we keep that pattern, if we allow that pattern to persist for 90 seconds, we will then become angry. And once we're angry, we begin to breathe the breath of anger, which is chest feel. We're here. We're holding the breath a lot. And when we are releasing it, it's with a forceful release. Fuck you! But we got 90 seconds before that ever transpires. What happened, what message has been sent to the brain? It's saying, I need to attack, I need to defend, I need to protect. With anger, we bypass completely our prefrontal cortex that says, hey, chill out, they're a kid, don't cuss them out. You know? But so we bypass it, we don't use it, we don't have it. And so that could become very dangerous. And it also then says, hey, we gotta release some chemicals so that you can be able to defend yourself and attack. So we're gonna give you some adrenaline, we're gonna give you some cortisol, and we're gonna rush it out so you're prepared, and we don't know when you're gonna need it. And so that surge is released. And adrenaline and cortisol is not bad, right? But if you're using it improperly, unconsciously, well, this surge is being released. You know, you think about what that looks like. Adrenaline keeps you active, keeps you alert, keeps you up. You know, angry people don't say, well, F you, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. They don't do that. They don't say, I'm about to go to bed. No, they're up until they're no longer mad, they fall asleep, or they intoxicate themselves out, or whatever angry people do. Anyway, so that's the breath of anger. So anxiety is very similar to anger, and it can be confused. And it can be confused because they're very similar. So the breath pattern that creates anxiety is sharp, shallow, but instead of forceful, it's erratic. It's everything. Holding fast is everything. And then after that is triggered, it becomes rapid. It becomes, I'm probably gonna forget some stuff. It becomes rapid, erratic, and some other stuff, I forget. But you begin to breathe that. And again, every 90 seconds, it's releasing that chemical. And the chemicals for anxiety is the same, adrenaline and cortisol. But the difference between the anxiety and anger is where anger sends a surge of adrenaline and cortisol. Anxiety turns it on like running water. It's not a drip, it's not a surge, but it's running. And it's running the whole time we're in anxiety. And some of us live in anxiety. And it doesn't turn off. That's why with anxious people or anxiety, insomnia happens. Or they have irritable bowels, or trouble eating, trouble digesting their food, because that adrenaline is saying we don't need to do all that. You know, we don't need to do that. And so that's running constantly. So the breath pattern of love, we love love, right? That's full, that's open, that's deep, it's safe. It actually tells your brain, I'm safe. This is nice, I'm connected. I'm at peace. That's good. That's good, because when it does that, the chemical that's released is oxytocin. It's okay. That's a good thing. We want that, you know. And so we also, again, I'm saying this, I'm going to keep saying it. Every 90 seconds, we can change our breath patterns. We're learning it now. We're knowing, oh, I can breathe fully and deeply, and my brain will think I'm in love, you know. And so, and speaking of that, right? We're in summertime. We look good. Everybody know we look good. People are trying to holler at us. And so we need to know the difference between lust. What is that breath pattern of lust? Well, lust is breathy. It's heavy. It's intoxicating, right? You know, the breath of lust, it tells us, all right, this feels good. Not only does it feel good, I'm ready, you know? And so, yeah. And that's because the great thing about lust is it sends all the right chemicals. It's sending the dopamines, the oxytocins, and the little, you know, arousal stuff. So that's why lust feels so good to us. But if we are feeling it, we're breathing that, and we're around the person, we know we just need that, and not trying to bring them home to meet mommy and daddy, you know? So we need to understand that. And if we're around somebody and they just breathing lustfully with us, we already know what that is, you know? So I wanted to point that out so we know what that looks like. So fear, the breath pattern of fear. The breath pattern of fear is identical to anxiety. Sharp, shallow, erratic. The difference is it's with the mouth. We do not do mouth breathing, y'all. So that really sends a direct signal to the brain. This is not a drill. We have to go, or we have to protect ourselves until we can go. And what's happening the brain is received that very message, and what happens is all blood is redirected to the muscles for you to do just that. When all the blood is redirected from there, your organs is not getting blood, your breath isn't full, you breathe in through your mouth, you're shocking your organs, the little bit they is getting it. So the breath pattern of fear can be very problematic over time. And again, that chemical is adrenaline and cortisol as well. Excitement, though, can feel a lot like fear. Things that we're excited about, we kind of are fearful, or vice versa. We have a baby, we're so happy about it, then we're like, oh, is the baby breathing? It could be, it's the same. And so the way we can trick our brain with that is the breath pattern of anxiety or excitement is the same as fear, but with an audible exhale. Woo! Yes! So think about how we can trick ourselves when we're scared, make a little noise. Somebody might look at us crazy, but that's okay. We're hyping ourselves up, And so that audible exhale says, I like this. This is okay. It can be scary, but it's super exciting, And so that's good. And that chemical being released is dopamine. Dopamine is good. We want to keep those. So I want to go back to anger, anxiety, and fear, because those can be problematic over time. Again, anger is sending a surge of this stuff, cortisol and adrenaline. And anxiety and fear is keeping it on like running water. And our immune system is such a wonderful thing. It's like the skin of the inside of our body. And what it does is it says, you only need this much cortisol and adrenaline. This is not a real drill. I'm gonna give you this much and I'll take the rest. And so it takes on all the rest that we're giving it every 90 seconds. And over time, it begins to wear on the immune system. Think of like little patches, little holes. But the holes are being created in front of our pancreas, our ovaries, our liver, our lungs, and we get illnesses there. And when it is prolonged, or even think about a woman living in anxiety, living in fear while in utero, while pregnant, that baby is being bathed in cortisol. And then they come out with autoimmune disease. That's how autoimmune disease happens, is it wears on the immune system, wears it down. So I've talked about all these different breaths, right? I want us to take the time to experience them. So, we get angry, we get anxiety, fear, all of this, but we're not conscious when we're in it. So I want us to take a moment to just consciously feel what anger, anxiety, fear, love, lust, all of these things, well, not all of them, just a few that I have wrote down here. Feel what that feels like. So that as it's arising, remember, we got 90 seconds to change our breath, change our thought, and create a different chemical, release a different chemical. Oxytocin is healing. Breathing the breath of love is healing. It sends off connecting chemicals, healing chemicals. So just for the sake of this, I want us to allow people and situations to grace our minds, nothing too traumatic, but something that brings in these emotions, okay? So we'll start with anger, and again, something that really angers you, pisses you off, a situation, a person, and I just want you to begin to think about them. Think about the situation. And as you're thinking about the situation or the person, just begin, don't change anything. Just begin to take notice of you, yourself, your breath. Notice what that feels like in you. How fast does it, do you accept the emotion? And then we will fully exhale that toxic thought out. Let that go. thank it for its lesson, for giving you a little time to learn yourself, learn your body. And now bring to thought something that gives you anxiety, that makes you anxious. Not something that makes you fearful. Like, leave me in a room with a group of kids and I'm anxious, but I ain't scared of them. You know what I mean? So something that makes you anxious. And begin to notice your body, your shoulders, maybe how you're holding yourself. And then fully exhale that out. Thank it for its lesson. And some we all love. Let's think of something that we love. And let's try, just for this moment, let's try not to think of a romantic love, right? Because sometimes we might get that confused. So let's think of like maybe like a parent or a baby, you know, that kind of, maybe someone did something for you, a sibling or a friend that you care about. Begin to feel what that feels like in your body. How your breath feels. I see some of y'all started smiling, and I think that's so beautiful. That means you really, you're in it, you feel it. Yes, and that is good to do, to go back to, again, even just thinking about that person, whoever person, thing, situation that you're thinking about right now, that allowed that smile to come on your face. When you realize it, don't matter if it's 2-3 minutes later, if you find yourself angry, anxious, whatever, go back to that, because that is some good healing chemicals that is being released for you. So now let's go ahead and give them the moment. We're gonna give that person the moment. Think of the right one so you get a good idea of what the lustful breath sounds or feels like. Not sound like y'all, please don't make no noise. I'm like, what kind of class was that? Okay, so just know what that feels like. We'll allow that person. I'm so sorry you with your mate. Oh Lord, but this is good, right? It's good. You know, no, just do it, please. Anyway, breathe. Breathe. Think of that person, that situation, that interaction, and just see what that feels like for you. We'll move past it real fast, you know, just so you know, and we'll let them go. Thank you. Exhale them out. Thank you. Okay, exhale them out. And now we'll think of something that makes us fearful. Actually creates a true fear. I got a house, a family of possums in my backyard. I'm terrified to go back there. Okay, that's for real fear. But think of something like a situation like that you're fearful of, so you can feel what that feels like for you in your body, in your breath. And we'll exhale that out and let that go. Everyone, hold on to the lessons, of course, but let the experience go. It's gone. And now we'll breathe, or not breathe. You'll end up breathing. Think about something that excites you, that gets you excited, and begin to just think about that, feel that, and take notice of your body, take notice of your breath. And that's cool. The smiles came on people's face again. That's pretty cool. So you can use that. If one came easier than the other, you can default to that, when you're having those moments. So, and you don't have to answer it now. We'll go through questions and answers later if you want to share. But I just want to ask, what did you feel? Did you feel any tightness, any restriction, any tension? Where at? All of it. Take notice of that and hold on to it. The breath of man is the light of God, searching our most inner being. Well, what is God? God is love. Love is kind and patient. It's not boastful or envious. It's not puffed up with anger. Love bears all things, believes all things, and endures all things. Love never fails. The breath of love never fails. So before I start with actually, let me tell you the difference, because I do breath coaching. I'm all about breath expert. And so I want to make mention of the difference between breath coaching and breath work, because we've all heard about breath work. We like it, we tried it, but sometimes breath work doesn't work for everybody. And that's because it's already a pattern created. You're to go do it, and maybe you do it, maybe you fall asleep, maybe you get, out of breath, whatever. Some people get it and it's very life-changing, but some people may not have the stamina. Some people may be so restricted and tight that they can't take a full breath in. Another little fun fact, I love fun facts, is we can breathe in up to 5,000 milliliters of air, but we mostly breathe in about 500. That's nothing with 2 lungs. Slowing that breath, taking that full breath in, pushing the oxygen that's in your breath, that you're holding in your breath, out fully so that you can get that new vibrant energy in. It's so important. I'm sorry, I got 3 minutes left, so I want to take questions and answers. So if anybody has questions and answers, I'm open to it. I do want to tell you where I'm at in case we run out of time. Right out these doors, you go out these doors, go through that into the big room, I'm right there. So that's where I'm located. So if we have any questions or anything, or if anyone want to share what it felt like for them going through the different breath experiences or anything, I'm open to that. Yes. You.
I want to say I'm one of her students, and she really taught me how to breathe, like just normal breath, like how to relax my posture, how to take air in, how to release it. And there have been times where I did dabble in breath work outside of her breath coaching, and I was able to have more stamina with the breath work based off the tips and the tools that she gave me. So it does help. It helps because I've dealt with anxiety for years, stuttering, anxiousness, and I stop. I think about what she's giving me, take a deep breath in through the nose, hold, and release. And that helps calm me down when I'm facing certain situations. So
thank you for sharing. Thank you. Anything else? Well,
I just wanted to say thank you. I really appreciated the way that you first took us through some of the theory and the concept, and then actually allowed us to experience it in the body, to be able to bring that awareness in, and that was really helpful. So thank you so much.
thank you. I guess we got a couple of minutes before the next. Oh, here she comes. I'll grab my lungs, and thank y'all so much for y'all time.
Real good in here. Y'all did.
Yes. Breathing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so here, moving by mom.